Hello and welcome to Maxim Foods Inside Track. I hope you've all had a good start to April, well into autumn here in Brisbane, starting to get a bit of a chill to the air. Well, chill for Brisbane standards anyway, still about 25 degrees Celsius, but it is chilly for Brisbaneites. Let's have a look at the dairy industry. Starting off with full cream milk powder. So last night on the GDT it was quite a flat result, so 0.4% up. So showing that things are quite finely balanced. Fonterra did bring some volume forward into this season, and it was taken up. Mainly North Asia was the biggest buyer on this auction. They weren't as aggressive as last auction, however there was still enough there to keep that at a neutral result, or keep pricing at a neutral result. Interesting to see over the next couple of auctions when we delve into new season milk and how demand will react to that. So yeah, things are reasonably poised, not a lot of activity demand wise, but supply is quite low coming into the end of the season, so a bit hard to tell of any sort of market direction. Having a look at skim milk powder. I know I give skim a bit of a hard time about not being the most exciting of the commodities, but it really has proven that way again. Last night on the GDT, a neutral result after a bit of excitement earlier on the year with some volatility in pricing. The New Zealand Australian skim price is quite flat again. Non-fat out of the US, we did see a bit of a spike in demand over the last couple of weeks and some pricing firming in the EU. Coming onto their season or well into their season now, there is some good supply and demand is holding up, so prices are relatively stable. In terms of an outlook, it's about as exciting as a colourless rainbow really. There's not a lot of bullish signs in skim. However, coming into the end of the season, there should be less supply, which may hold pricing up. Having a look at butter, in terms of New Zealand butter fat, the pricing is still quite firm. Supply is down, and obviously the global markets are reacting accordingly. So pricing still, after that 10% spike in mid-January, have remained reasonably flat since then, and quite bullish. So that higher pricing hasn't burnt off global demand for New Zealand butter as yet. In Australia, the dynamics look a little different. There is a surplus of cream, some good milk conditions down south in Victoria, so we are seeing a bit more cream and as a result butter fat on the Australian market, which is a bit of an anomaly in terms of more availability of Australian butter than NZ in Australia at the moment. If you look across the globe, things in the EU reasonably stable to bearish conditions, but fat demand in the US is quite bullish. So a bit of a mixed bag there. On AMF, it's the second highest it's been in the last 5 years, so that result last night tipping it over the 7,000 US on the GDT. So demand seems to be holding up, and it looks as though in the short term for AMF, those firm pricings will continue as we taper off into the end of the season. Having a look at cheese now. So in the US, not a lot of change since last fortnight. Pricing relatively stable. In the EU, given the flush of milk, there is good supply, but demand is holding up okay, with pricing remaining stable. In New Zealand, Australia, we saw last night on the GDT it go down 10%. Cheese isn't the best indicator, or the GDT isn't the best indicator of cheese direction because of the lack of liquidity on the GDT. However, demand is still quite stable globally for New Zealand and Australian cheese. So supply is quite good. So we do see pricing remain quite stable. Having a look at whey powder, so on the sweet whey side of things, not a lot of excitement. Production and inventory is good globally. Demand is stable, so pricing therefore, or the market is reasonably bearish on sweet whey. Having a look at the whey protein side of things, a strange one to pick at the moment. So global supply is still very tight for PCPI. However, at these higher prices, a lot of the sports nutrition market globally are struggling to take these prices. So will these high prices burn off demand? It will be one to see in the next 2 months. Thanks very much for listening to today's Inside Track. Stay well, and I'll see you guys in 3 weeks.